So last year, Corona, the beginning of the pandemic, it was our first time at home making Pesach, and rookie mistake. First day of the Chag, I forget the reason why, but I reach my hand onto the top of the bookcase. I feel a Ziploc bag, pull it down, chametz gamur in the bag. Cereal, whether it was Cheerios, chametz gamur in the bag. Not so uncommon, even for non-rookies, presumably. So we're trying to focus on the last couple of days, starting with yesterday with the Isur HaNa'am. We said even if a person has kavanah to enjoy the smell of chametz coming from a non-Jewish bakery, if he has intention to enjoy the smell, it's a very pleasurable smell. That's Isur HaNa'ah. You're not allowed to have an from chametz on Pesach. We want to explore today and tomorrow is also the Isur of Bal Yira'eh Bal Yematzeh. We want to discuss a few cases where I have no ownership of the chametz, and it's not even my property, and yet there is still restrictions. Okay? So what do you do if you find chametz on Pesach? There's basically three questions which you have to consider. Where did you find the chametz? When did you find the chametz? And to whom does the chametz belong? Is it yours or not? If a person finds, we'll start with one of the more extreme cases. If I encounter chametz, b'reshut rabim, walking down the sidewalk, it's not my property, it might not even be my neighborhood, it's not even my chametz. Chamuvadia brings down, it's brought down in the Biur Halacha as well, from the Shelo to Tshuvot HaRivash. It's prohibited to pick up their chametz even on Chol HaMoed. This has nothing to do with muktzeh, which we'll get to on Shabbat and Yom Tov. You're not allowed to pick up that chametz. Either because, one explanation of the Rivash is because in some way you might take ownership of it by picking it up, even though that's not your intention, quite obviously. You'll be oved, you'll be transgressing the ownership of chametz, or because midrabanan we're concerned that once it's in your possession, and chametz is something which you reach for so frequently, you might come to eat it. Okay, so it's asur midrabanan, even on Chol HaMoed, when it's not Shabbat, not Yom Tov, to encounter chametz and pick it up. What about if it's in my home? If the chametz is in my home and I encounter it as I did last year, so then it depends, what do you do going forward? It depends on when you find the chametz. Is it during the weekdays, Chol HaMoed, or is it on Shabbat or Yom Tov? If it's during the week, Mishnah Berurah explains that you immediately bring the chametz out of your property. We don't want it even for 1 second additional. Don't say, I'll get around to it, I'm doing something now. In 20 minutes, I'll for sure be able to take care of it. Miyad, you take it out. Motzi oto mereshut, you bring it out of your possession, your property. Again, for the same concern, that the longer it's in your property, whether you or somebody else might come to eat it. Therefore, midrabanan, we say it has to be out of your reshut. We're talking over here even about chametz that you did bitul on. It's not new chametz. This is something that bag, I remember I put it on Purim on the top of that shelf. So it's chametz that already had the bitul. Nonetheless, even though I nullified it from my possession, it's got to get out of the property immediately. Now, once you're out of your property with the chametz, then what do? Soref. Then you have to burn the chametz. If that's not for whatever reason possible, right, then you have to destroy it in some other way. If it's a crumbly item, you crush it, crumble it, throw it into the wind. At that point, there's machloket in Achronim whether or not you make a bracha on the bi'ur chametz that you're doing. The Achronim say you do make a bracha. Others say you don't. Therefore, the ruling of Mishnah Berurah is safek brachot la'akel. We do not make a bracha on that new bi'ur chametz, even if it's new chametz, and certainly if it's old chametz that I already did the bracha of bi'ur chametz on. If you encounter the chametz on Shabbat or on Yom Tov, so the halacha is that the chametz is 100% muktzeh. Like anything else which has no use on Shabbat or Yom Tov, chametz is asur ba'na'am. It's asur ba'achila. I can have zero to do with this chametz. It's useless to me. And because of that, it has no Shabbat or Yom Tov function. It becomes high-level muktzeh. I'm not allowed to move it at all. Therefore, the idea that's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch is that you have to take a kli, some sort of vessel, and overturn it over it. Imagine caution tape all the way around, that for the rest of Shabbat, the rest of Yom Tov, nobody should come to move this item because of the fact that it is chametz. And then once again, once Shabbat or Yom Tov is over, then you remove the item as quickly as possible from your possession, and you destroy it. Mishnah Berurah brings down, some people have, whether it's live-in help, non-Jewish service in their home, or maybe you have a good relationship with your neighbor, a non-Jewish neighbor. If you have a nochri, a non-Jew who's available, then you don't have to do this idea of covering it and leaving it in your home, which might be stressful. You could have the non-Jew come and remove it for you on Shabbat or on Yom Tov. Okay? So that covers what you do with the chametz on Chol HaMoed in your house. You burn it right away. Shabbat Yom Tov, not allowed to touch it, not allowed to move it. It's muktzeh. Leave it afterwards covered. Leave it until after Shabbat Yom Tov covered. Then you burn it right away. Or if there's non-Jew available, they can remove it from your house for you and destroy it that way.